Welcome once again to another episode of the Random Access Podcast, brought to you by rapodcast.net. This is episode 830, recorded live on April 5th, 2025. And here are your hosts, the man who sometimes gets work calls during our recording, Dave Pillay.
Hey.
And the man who is actually on call right now, Andy Lowe. Hi.
You're on call.
I'm back to being on call. Yes.
Wow.
It's only been 2 years.
What's the likelihood of being on, of being called?
Well, right now, slim to none.
Okay.
With those storms that we had earlier this week, I was very anxious. And actually, two of my coworkers are actually currently right now up near Gaylord right now, helping out up there because it has just been massive problems up north.
Because of rain and snow and...
Well, it was the ice. The ice is what really got it.
Yeah.
There was, I think, a quarter inch of ice built up.
That's going to bring down some tree branches.
Yeah, tree
directly
branches.
onto some power lines.
Power lines. Towers. There was actually a picture of, was it Petoskey? There was one of the radio stations that I used to know the guy who did the engineering for. 600-foot tower just got taken down due to the ice.
Oof.
So yeah, no, it was not pleasant up there. And then, of course, the next day down here, we get a massive thunderstorm that rolls through and takes out power down here. And consumers sent everybody up north to work on the ice storm and then had to call them back.
Be like, no, guys, come back down. We need you here.
Yeah, so how was your week?
How was my week?
Because we didn't have power for 48 hours.
I didn't have that. We did have a storm roll through here. It was probably the same storm that got to you, but a day earlier. But work is kind of kicking my ass. That's about it. Yep. I don't want to go into too much detail because proprietary knowledge and information. This podcast is not the right place to be talking about that. But work has been absolutely kicking my ass this week.
Yeah, no, I get that. Like I said, my coworkers are currently up in Gaylord. The only reason I'm not up there is because I am on call.
I was going to ask, what's the cause and effect? Is you being on call keeping you here, or are you here, therefore you're on call?
No, on call is keeping me here because I have to be, I have to be like wheels rolling within an hour of getting the phone call.
Uh-huh.
Or it was something like that where it's I have to be...
that's the expectation.
Yes. It's a very short time frame from when I get the call to when I have to roll out. So...
Yeah. I had to call someone last night. And then they had to call someone to wake them up.
Yep. No, I remember doing some of those phone calls.
Yep.
Where I called somebody up and be like, dude, your station, this is not working. I can't do anything remotely. You need to either, get in there and do that, or it's going to be at least 2 or 3 hours before I can drive myself up there and do it.
Yep. Oh, for me, it was I know the solution. I just don't have security for it.
Ah.
So I put into the help desk, here's how we fix this. And the person on the other end was like, okay, let me call the on-call person. And they did. And he got on and he was like, I don't think I have security to do this. And I'm like, okay. He said, let me call someone who does. And so we had to wake someone up.
Yeah. But yes, no, after being on call for 10 years, it was a nice break. It's nice though, because there's a team of us. And so I'm only once every 4 weeks.
Yep. That's pretty good.
Yes. So I've still got the vacations planned this summer, still got Manistee, and everything is...
Manistee.
Yep, everything's lined up, so I don't have to worry about those. So, be all good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Dave, I have 4 colors.
Oh, okay.
Because we still have more Red Bull to get through.
Yeah.
All right. We have red, we have amber.
Uh-huh.
We have pink.
Uh-huh.
And we have purple.
When you say amber...
It's literally called the Amber Edition.
I see. Because, amber as a color, to me, for a drink, is very reminiscent of piss.
Especially if you haven't been drinking your water.
Yeah. So let's go with that.
Lovely.
The amber one.
Just put that mental image in my head of Red Bull and piss.
Yep.
All right.
Are you? Come on. You're telling me that wasn't already a connection in your head?
It was. I mean, Red Bull's color is already
pretty gross.
This is strawberry and apricot.
Those are two flavors that I like. I don't know that I'd want them together.
It sort of tastes like a funky strawberry. Like you get the strawberry, but then like the apricot is the...
It's a strawberry that like something has gone wrong.
Yeah, it's like
something is horribly wrong with this strawberry.
You bite into the strawberry and you're like, ooh, strawberry. And then it's like later it's like, wait a second. No, something was wrong with that what was wrong with that strawberry? Yeah. I don't know about this one.
Purple?
Well, no, I'm not going to drink 2 Red Bulls.
Well, you could stop drinking this one.
We'll see.
It depends on how offensive it is.
Yes. No, it's not like flaming Mountain Dew.
Because you don't need to drink them.
I know.
Okay.
God, when does that honeydew show up? Honeydew, Mountain Dew. It's supposed to be showing up soon. When is it going to show up? Oh, in July. Dang it.
Quote unquote soon.
Yes, soon, i.e. July.
Yeah. One of our sayings at work is that soon is not a time.
And stuff at work is sometimes moves really fast and then other times moves at the speed of government.
And let us be thankful for that.
Yes.
Sometimes the speed of government is good.
Yes, it is.
There's a reason why it takes a little bit of time to do certain things.
Then there's other times where, we do it. A perfect example for that. The current firmware from Motorola for the radios, the latest firmware randomly loses the encryption keys.
Okay.
Motorola hasn't figured out what is causing the encryption keys to just randomly disappear, but it's on the latest version of the firmware, and us being a large government organization,
you'd think they'd have ironed that out before release.
You think Motorola would have done that, yeah, but we have to make sure everything is certified and okay on our network first, so we never go with the latest version, and they're just like, oh, look at this. Yeah, let's not use that.
Yeah, no kidding.
We're going to hold at our current version now until we know there is a fix for that.
And until we know that, some foreign actor hasn't placed a backdoor in the firmware, causing it to lose encryption or to send encryption information.
No, it'd be pretty hard to do something like that. There's probably just something in there because there's radios that you can actually set them up. Mm-hmm. So if the radio loses power, it wipes all of the encryption keys out of it. I.e., if somebody steals the radio, it will, so I'm guessing there's something with that feature
where it's activating when it's not supposed to.
Yes.
Yep. That sounds reasonable. Excuse me. I should not be as tired as I am.
Hey, do you want a Red Bull? I can get you.
Sure, Andy. I hate this stuff, but you know what? Yeah. How about you bring me a Red Bull?
I'll just hop in my car, be there in tomorrow.
Yep. This is what, 4 or 5 hours?
Oh, probably. Especially with the time. Well, no, I would save some time with the time change, wouldn't I?
Well, here's the problem. You'd save time coming here, but you lose it when you go back.
Yes.
Which would get even worse for you when they call you from the on-call.
Oh, that's right. I can't actually leave right now. I must be within.
And they're like, hey, we need you to come in. You're like, well, what? Tell me the rule again. Is the rule that I have to be in the car on the way within an hour? Okay, I can do that.
I'm just going to be on my way from Wisconsin.
It's just going to be 5 hours of me being on my way. So,
yeah, I don't think that's going to work.
No. So yeah, you want to bring me a Red Bull? Go for it. I'll wait up for you.
Yeah,
we could even record the episode while you're driving.
We could record 4 episodes. Well, about probably 3, maybe 2.
2.
I'm going to say yes. 2 episodes. We'll get through.
2.5. I mean, round trip 5 episodes.
Yes. 5 episodes of Dave trying to keep me awake while I'm driving.
We would certainly get into some random conversations.
But then, who knows, we might get something like the Lost episode that we never actually...
Oh, yeah, the Lost episode.
Yep.
Is it episode 48, I think?
43?
43, maybe?
I don't know. I'd have to look back at our RSS feed. Oh, wait.
Oops.
But yes, so you might have to be heavy on the topic leading for this episode because, like I said, I had no power for 48 hours.
Okay.
So I was kind of in survival mode.
Yeah, like you have 2 kids that you were taking care of and you were trying to get them entertained.
Yes.
Apparently as Pikachus.
Yes. Isaac went as Pikachu for Halloween last year.
Uh-huh.
I went as a Snorlax. So he had a Pikachu like Halloween costume, but it's definitely a costume. And we have these shark onesies. Mm-hmm. So, we had those, and I'm sitting there thinking like there's bound to be somebody out there who's done a Pikachu onesie. And of course, there's lots of them. There's
got to be hundreds or thousands.
Yes, there were a lot of Pikachu onesies out there, so I had gotten him an actual onesie.
Uh-huh.
So he was wearing the onesie, and then Megan wanted to be part of, anything that Isaac does, she wants to do as well. So she is actually in Isaac's Halloween costume, and her Pikachu onesie should be arriving next week in her size. So,
aww.
Yep.
So what you need to do then is find like a Raichu onesie for you.
But I'm Snorlax.
You're Snorlax.
Yes.
Hang on. I gotta look up something real quick. Pikachu is in the fairy egg group? No, that can't be right.
Egg group? Question mark?
In this and another egg group. Pikachu is in the field egg group.
What are egg groups? Oh, egg groups. Okay. This is new.
So you haven't played a Pokemon game that involves Pokemon breeding?
No. There have been 2 Pokemon games that I have played.
Yes.
Gen 1. Actually, 3 Pokemon games I have played. There's played Gen 1. I've played Pokemon Go.
Yep.
And I'm playing Pokemon Pocket. So
there's been a Pokemon game that you've played.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So egg groups is the different Pokemon that can breed together.
There is a human-like egg group.
Yep. Which has some interesting things in it. Because I believe Vaporeon is in the human-like egg group. Let me double check that. Vaporeon is not in that group. Which group is Vaporeon in? So the human-like, Machop, Machoke, Machamp.
Yeah, it's basically all the Pokemon
things with 2 legs and 2 arms.
Yeah, no, I see it.
Those are the human-like egg group. What is the... There's the amorphous egg group. Oh, it's like Muck.
Muck, Slugma, Gulpin,
Palisand, Mimikyu. So is Vaporeon in the water egg group? Where is Vaporeon?
There are 3 water egg groups.
Yep, water 1, water 2, water 3. Looks like it might be in water 2 then. Where the hell is this Pokemon?
Where's that Pokemon?
Field. Vaporeon is in the field egg group. Because of course it is.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah. So I can sort of help you take lead on these, the topics. The problem is I have either been at work or in the kitchen or asleep. That's kind of been my week. So I haven't really seen a lot of these topics out there.
We'll just go through this together.
But I've got a few things that I can talk about. I did watch the Nintendo Direct.
Okay, good.
For the Switch 2.
Yes, I did not have power at the time, so
Yeah. What questions do you have about the Switch 2? Let's see how well I watched the Nintendo Power.
Well,
Nintendo
what
Direct.
can you tell me about it? I know it's a Switch.
Yeah. In the same way that like a PlayStation 2 is a PlayStation.
That's about as much as I know from this.
Okay. What do you want to know?
Well, okay, first off, what's the when is it coming out and how much is it going to cost?
Release is in June. It is like June 5th.
Okay.
So right around the corner. How much is it going to cost actually is a good question. Because it's listed as MSRP of $450.
But which
is a lot.
This was released on Tuesday, and
yes.
Of course, as we know, everything
Liberation Day was Wednesday.
Yeah.
And in fact, this is not a topic that you have on here. GameStop has said that Nintendo has asked them to hold off on pre-orders until we figure out a little bit more about pricing and tariffs.
Okay. No, that would make much sense.
But what else can I tell you? So it is bigger than the Switch.
Okay.
It is the same thickness as the Switch. They wanted to make sure that they did that. They did not make it any thicker.
But it's a bigger screen.
Because it's a bigger screen.
Okay.
It's also a better screen. So it has the 1080p. And it can run at either 1080p at 120 frames per second.
Ooh.
On the device, or 4K at 60 frames per second.
Wow. So it's got some oomph inside it.
Yeah. Oomph, like, hey, they released a version of Cyberpunk 2077 for it. And Elden Ring. These are not games that require like slow processors. These are we'll have to see how much they've like nerfed the game, but maybe we'll actually get a Pokemon game that won't have like 5 frames per second. That would be nice.
Okay, so the Joy-Cons are magnetic snap?
The Joy-Cons are magnetic. The magnets are in the Switch.
Okay.
And the like shoulder buttons on the Joy-Cons that touch the Switch are metal. So they will stick.
Okay. What's this C button I'm seeing on this controller?
There is a C button. They added a button to the right Joy-Con.
Because I have a C button on my Wiimotes.
On your Wiimotes?
Yeah, there's a C button on the Wiimotes.
No.
Yes. On the
There's
nunchuck.
a 1, 2, an A. Oh, on the nunchuck. Well, that's not on the Wiimote. That's on the nunchuck.
The nunchuck is part of the Wiimote.
No, it is not. It is an accessory to the Wiimote. Oh
yes, no, I've realized that now because a lot of the Wii games are just like, oh yeah, no, it's a Wiimote. It's just like, okay,
you don't need the nunchuck. The C in this case stands for chat.
Oh,
they basically added Discord Lite to the Switch 2. So there is you can set up a chat room with your friends while you're playing the game. And it will stream their screens to you if you want, and if they've turned it on, et cetera, if it's like enabled, so that you can like see their screens, or that you can put your face on there if you've got the the Switch camera.
There's like the camera on the Switch, or
nope, sold separately.
Of course,
there's a webcam accessory for the Switch.
I was like, I don't think the Switch came with a front-facing camera.
It does not. They are releasing upgraded versions of several games, including Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
Ooh, that's going to be good.
So there will be Switch 2 versions of those games where it's like better graphics, fixed a couple bugs, and you can, if you own the game, you can buy an upgrade to your game. So they are not making you rebuy the entire game.
Well, especially for what's a current game going for, what, $70, $80 right now?
Well, with the Switch 2, Nintendo's games will be $80. Okay, hang on.
I know, yes. If I count inflation, it's not actually that bad.
Andy, if you account for inflation, do you know how much these games are, like, relative to what they were in the late 80s, early 90s?
Yes, no, I remember. I remember that math.
Yeah, it's $80 now. Hang on, $80 now versus 1990. $80 now is $200 in 1990.
Yeah, no, Yes, I know. It's just still feels a lot.
Flip that. $80 in 1990 is $200 today. Which is, yeah, because like a game was worth, if we say a game is worth $50, that should be $120 per game. So yes, the games are going to be more expensive, but overall they are still cheaper. They also announced a bunch of third-party games that are already in the works. There's a new Hitman for the Switch. As I said, they're bringing over a couple other games.
There's a Hitman for the Switch?
There's a Hitman for the Switch.
Oh my goodness.
There's a new James Bond game for the Switch, made by the people who do Hitman.
Oh, that could be interesting.
There is the new Hollow Knight, the huge announcement that was like a shadow announcement, because they hadn't officially announced the sequel. And so, like, it was just kind of thrown in there, and everyone who was watching went like, wait, what? Hades 2 for the Switch, which is also very exciting. It does feel a lot like Nintendo is trying to make up ground between the Switch and the Steam Deck. That they realize that, like, they've got a lot, but there's a lot more to get. So a lot of the games that they were showing are, like, way more adult games. Or games focused on the non-traditional Nintendo demographic.
Yeah, I don't see any Lego games announced.
Yeah, but like, you know that the Lego games are going to come out on the Switch.
No, it makes sense looking at this that they're trying to, they're pushing towards the more adult demographic.
Yeah.
Because Isaac is not going to care about a Switch 2 Nintendo Direct showing up.
Right.
He just wants to know what when Gen 10 is going to come out. That's what he wants to know.
The next Pokemon?
Yeah.
He's got to play through some of the other ones.
I know.
Unless he just wants them for the cards.
I don't know what he wants. Because he's also doing Minecraft. And
do you want to borrow Scarlet?
I'm not sure. I don't know what he wants right now. So
okay. You guys do have a Switch? No, you have a Wii.
Yes.
You don't have a Switch?
No.
Would you like a Switch? I may have an extra one in June.
Maybe. I've just decided now that, like, on my Christmas wish list, I put an Xbox One Series X.
Yeah.
Instead of just the Xbox Series X, and I had to make sure to put in parentheses, not the current generation, the older one.
You will have to find this at a GameStop or like a secondhand store.
Yeah. Because there's some of the things, like some of the Lego games, like I've reached the point of the Xbox 360 range of the Lego games. I was like, oh, these, I've seen videos for some of these Lego games. Like, oh, they look pretty cool. Isaac is excited about them, but I don't have the hardware to play them. Just got to. Some of them I think I've actually got on the PC through like Good Old Games and stuff like that. I just got to figure out how to get all of that hooked up with the TV. But we'll figure that out at some point in the future. So, Dave, are you excited?
Yes.
Okay.
I am. I am a little like, well, what do I do with the two Switches I have? Because we have two Switches, and we probably won't buy two Switch 2s. Certainly not like right off the bat. Although some other cool things like local game sharing. So if you buy a multiplayer game that requires you to have like multiple consoles, only one person actually has to buy the game.
Well, that's good.
You can share it console to console for multiplayer.
That's going to be nice.
Yep.
I wonder if my sister knows that or not. I'll have to make sure next time I
have
chat
no
with her.
idea.
Because I think they have
There's a new Mario Kart. Sorry, go ahead.
Mario Kart.
You were talking about your sister?
Yeah, no, they've got like one Switch for the three of them. So be nice to have if they get a second one, not have to get two
of the games.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a new Mario Kart. It's called Mario Kart World, and the idea is that you know, in traditional Mario Kart, you have the track and you just click on the track and poof, you're there and then you play. This one is like an open world racing game. So there are tracks, but you can also go off the track and just like explore the world.
Explore the world.
And all the tracks are connected. So you have to like drive from one track to the next. I'm going to just go out on a limb and guess that there are like some secret tracks that you have to find.
Oh.
And that there's things where it's not on a track, but it'll be like race from this point to this point. Because they have races like that, right? Where it's not a single track that like you do loops on, but it's a like race from this city to this city. And they announced a new Donkey Kong game, which they have not had one of those in some time.
Nope. We actually were just playing Donkey Kong Returns on the Wii, I think. Isaac was very confused by it, and I'm instantly there going like, God, I remember how much of a pain in the butt the Donkey Kong was on the Super Nintendo. I don't know
Donkey
if I want to
Country.
I don't know if I want to subject him to Donkey Kong Country yet.
Yep. But like the music is so good.
Oh, I know.
The music of Donkey Kong Country is so good.
I mean, as soon as that disc booted up and I heard the music playing, I'm like, oh, yeah.
Do. Was that David Wise?
I don't know.
Donkey Kong Country composer. I think was David. Yep, David Wise at Rare. Do. He also did Wizards and Warriors, which is a fantastic game. He did the music to Marble Madness? Oh, that makes so much sense.
All right, now I'm reading that we need a special micro SD card.
You need a micro SD Express.
I've never even heard of that. I've got a UHS 2 in my phone.
No, I didn't pay that much attention.
Never heard of Express.
You might honestly already have one.
It's been around.
It'll have like an SDEX on it. Or
Switch 2 will
micro
only work
SD
with
XC.
micro SD Express cards. They are a different type of SD card that will make high-speed data transfers possible.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So standard SD cards cap out at 100 megabytes per second write speeds, and the Micro Express can max out at 600 megabytes per second.
But so is that the SDXC?
I think so.
Yeah, so you probably already have it on a number of your micro SD cards. Let's see, what else? You can use the Joy-Con as a mouse by turning it on its side.
That seems weird.
Yeah, but they gave two examples of like how this could be really cool and change things, like the drag and drive effectively demo game, which is, think of Rocket League but with wheelchairs. And so the idea is you take the two Joy-Cons and you put them in your hands like mice, one in the left hand and one in the right hand, and you have to like do the motion to go forward, and to throw it you have to like pick it up and toss it. So for like tank games or for games, like it might be a fun thing of like, yeah, you have to adjust these values by moving the Joy-Cons. The other thing they did as an example was Civilization 7.
Oh, yeah, that will, you would
where they said like, hey, you just get a mouse. You don't need to try and do like some funky controls. You can just use it like a mouse. So, yeah. What else? There's the game chat. We talked about that. There's the game share. We talked about that. Virtual game cards. We talked about that last week, 2 weeks ago.
Last week.
Yep. So
it's
pretty cool.
The real question is going to be,
price.
Yep.
Which they say $450, but that was before taxes and tariffs and yeah.
All right. Well, let's see. What other topics we got going on?
Ooh, there was something from one of my favorite space companies.
Which one? Spin Launch?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not really going to be launching anymore.
What?
So, Yeah. So we talked about their whole,
Kinetic launch system.
yes, way back when,
Yeah.
and then last couple of years, there hasn't really been much out of there. And then last May, the founder left and was replaced without any explanation. And then the new guy came out finally and said that they are no longer really going into the launch anymore. So they plan to build a low Earth orbit telecommunications constellation with 280 satellites. They signed a $135 million contract with Nano Avionics as a key supplier for the constellation. Mm-hmm. There's other people investing in this constellation. And then the constellation will be launched on 1 or 2 traditional rockets.
Boo.
But they still say that they remain committed to kinetic launching.
Boo.
And that over time, the kinetic launch will be used to replenish and maintain this constellation.
Boo. Look, we don't need more constellations. Like, that's really not a good idea. But guys, come on, you had a great idea. Just finish it out.
Yeah, they said launch has generally been more of a cost center than a profit center.
Well, yeah, because you haven't actually gone into business yet.
Yeah.
Have you managed to launch something into orbit? Because, like, that's going to be the key thing is once you get into orbit. But, like, brrr.
Yeah. I think basically people have been just saying just because SpaceX has just thrown the whole launch calculation out of whack with the Falcon 9.
Because they have reusable rockets.
Yep.
So
having a small launch business is kind of challenging when SpaceX is like, oh, yeah, no, rideshare. Who wants a rideshare? Anybody want a rideshare?
Yeah, but, like, they should...
Yeah. But yes, no, they do not. We do not need another... Cheaper. We do not need another constellation. I mean, heck, one of the other topics here is the fact that Kuiper this week will hopefully have, Project Kuiper will have its first launch this week.
Is Kuiper another constellation?
That's Amazon's. That's Amazon's Starlink.
Okay.
Which, if I remember correctly, the constellation needs to have 1,618 satellites launched by the end of July 2026.
1,000 satellites?
Yes. They are starting with 27 satellites. What are they launching? On an Atlas V rocket. 27 satellites supposedly on Wednesday. So they're going to launch 27, and in order to keep their operating license for this from the FCC, they need to have, by the end of July 2026, 1,618 satellites up in orbit. So they technically need to launch, on average, 95 satellites per month.
Between now and 2026.
Yes. Which...
I wonder if SpaceX will let them.
Well, because... remember we talked about this way back when Amazon actually bought flights on Falcon 9s. Mm-hmm. Because there was just nobody else at the time launching anything.
Yeah. And apparently there still isn't.
Yep.
Although the Europeans did get their stuff set up.
Yep.
So who knows?
Yeah, December 2023. Okay, so 9 Atlas V rocket launches currently purchased, 38 Vulcan launches, 18 launches on the Ariane 6, and then currently somewhere between 12 and 24 New Glenn launches from Blue Origin, which we still haven't seen that one. Well, they did the one test flight, but, that's not ready yet. So, and then, 3 flights on Falcon 9s.
Jeez. Well, hopefully they don't hit each other.
It's going to be a freaking parking lot up there.
Yeah, we're gonna lock ourselves into the planet.
What was that scene from WALL-E where the rocket blasts through just that layer of junk? Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's what I'm seeing.
Except that junk is traveling very fast.
Yes.
So it's not great. What's going on with AI?
Oh, there's a bunch of stuff.
I see a lot of AI topics. What I don't see, which is maybe another thing you missed, was Anthropic's paper.
They did a paper on Claude?
They did a paper on Claude. Hang on. Let me grab it if I can type. God, my brain is like just not there right now.
And what else is new?
Hey, how LLMs think. There you go. Tracing the thoughts of a large language model.
Oh, that could be an interesting read.
It is a very interesting read. It is also huge.
Well, I don't doubt
it's
it.
a very big paper.
So I remember reading up on that paper where the people tried to figure out where facts are stored in the LLM.
Yep. This is similar.
Yep.
For instance, they recognized one of the findings of this. They asked Claude, what is the opposite of small? And they asked it in 3 different languages.
Oh.
And the same circuits in all 3 languages lit up, which means that it's not storing its information in a language. It's storing its information conceptually.
Well, that's a bit interesting.
Right?
Might have to take a look at that. Well, after I finish the book club book. I actually got the book club book in actual book. With like paper.
This is the how to be a Dark Lord or something?
Yes. Yeah, I could only find it in actual book form.
When is book club?
In 2 weeks.
Okay.
So, having to go back and read an actual physical book, it's just like, oh man.
Your kids are looking at it like, what's that?
Well, that and also, not having power. It's like, okay, my Kindle screen glows, so I could read it in the dark. But my physical book, does not glow.
Do you have a fireplace?
No, we do not.
No fireplace.
Nope.
Yep.
Yeah, trying to read a book by candlelight kind of just doesn't work. It's like, oh, maybe this is why people went blind way back when.
I don't think that's the case.
But still, that was gave me a bit of a headache. So
trying to read in the semi-dark.
Yes.
Clearly, you just need more candles.
Well, we were actually doing that because on Tuesday, the temperature dropped to below freezing. So we actually sequestered everybody into the addition on the back of the house where our TV and couches are.
Yep.
And I put a curtain up, and then I just basically lit a bunch of candles in there and actually warmed that room up to a reasonable temperature and just let the rest of the house get freezing. And then, that night everybody wore long pajamas and bundled up under a lot of blankets.
What great family bonding situations.
Yeah,
I remember when we had a power out, at some point it was like a 3-day power out or something, and we had to go to a hotel.
I was thinking about that because there are some hotels in the area that allow the state government rate for personal use.
Nice.
So there are some places where I could get a hotel room for, I think, $97 for a night.
Nice.
And I'm just like, that's just make sure to remember to keep that in my back pocket.
Yeah.
Because there's some of the other hotels also will have like a government rate. And so I'll just show them my government ID. Technically, you're not supposed to use it for personal use, but nobody really ever asks.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. So that's a thing that came out recently from Claude. Also out of Anthropic. Hang on. There's another topic to talk about. Which is they made Claude for Education.
Claude for Education?
Yep.
How is that different than just Claude?
Well, if you think about most LLM chatbots, there's some instructions that are given to the bot before it reads your stuff.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
You are such and such. Like, it's got a system prompt. In Claude for Education, part of that system prompt explains, you're going to be working with students. Your job is not to answer their questions, but to guide them to the answer.
Well, that's a different way of doing it, yeah.
Right. So if you give access to this, much, not much, but to a very strong language model, and you say, we'll give this to you, for free, well, to the students for free, the college has to pay, I'm sure. But, we'll give this to you for free, use this to, do your research and think about things and grammar check. And so it won't just give the answers, but it'll guide you to them. So that's the news out of Anthropic this week. They've done quite a bit.
Do I get to use that on a regular basis?
Claude for Education?
Yeah.
Are you a college?
No.
Then probably not.
No.
Do you want to use it?
I'm just curious to see, there's some times where it's like, I want you to lead me on the path rather than just giving me an answer.
Then tell it. Yeah. Andy, just go to ChatGPT and say your instruction, like you will be presented with a question. Your instructions are to not directly answer the question, but rather lead the person asking the question to an answer.
Yeah, I gotta work on my prompting.
Prompt engineering is
an actual thing. I know it's weird.
It is not just an actual thing, but like a very important thing.
Yep.
That's actually one of the outcomes of this how LLMs think is this is why prompt engineering is important, and here are things you can put into your prompt to help you arrive to what you want and reduce hallucination and come to a better interaction.
Well, let's see. Other news that came out just recently. Meta has announced their Llama herd of Llama 4 because they've got like 3 different Llama versions of Llama 4.
Interesting.
Depending on...
Meta Llama 4 is 10 million context window. Damn, that's a big window.
Yep. So there's a couple of different models, and of course the llamas are open weight models. Mm-hmm. So you can actually, if you really, how do you even look at all the weights? I know that it's open, so you can, but what do you actually look for, and what can you actually do with that?
Probably not much, other than use it to train your own content. You could use it as a starting point to train more. Because,
it's like, yes, I'm all about openness, especially in AI. But yeah, no, it's like, okay, it's open. It's like, okay, that's great.
It's a multi-gigabyte file of a bunch of numbers.
Yep.
Doesn't tell me a lot.
Nope. It's just like looking at the part list of 747. It's just like, okay, it's a lot of information there.
Yep.
That Microsoft announced their WHAM, WHAMM. It's their AI.
Sounds like a radio station.
WAAM is 1660 or 1600? 1600, yep.
It's the first letter tells you whether it's east or west, right?
In about 90% of the cases. There are some grandfathered ones in there. Plus, you're talking about American Samoa is technically a W station, even though it's way west of the Mississippi.
But west is supposed to be K?
Yes.
Always seemed weird to me because I was almost never west of the Mississippi.
Nope. Yeah, WAAM is 1600 in Ann Arbor, Michigan. That's why I knew that.
Oh,
one.
Cool.
Yeah.
So WHAM though.
WHAMM is
WHAMM.
Yes, Microsoft's generative AI for games that actually will let you play Quake 2. It's a generative AI model of the game. So it's not the actual game. You are playing the model, and the model is
you're interacting with a movie.
Yes.
It's generating the next frame based on the previous frame and your inputs.
Yes.
Huh.
Yep. But you are playing the model, so they warn you. It's like if you look away for more than a second,
it might disappear.
Yes. It's like it's like if you want to teleport across the map to teleport to another random location, just look up at the sky and then look back down.
Yep, and you will not necessarily be in the same place.
Yes.
Or because there is no place. There is no internal game state.
Nope.
There's what's on the screen.
Yes.
You could do that weird trick of walk up to the wall and then walk away from the wall and everything is different.
Yes. That's what they were talking about. Is sometimes if you're battling somebody, just look away and look back and most likely they will be gone. That's
actually kind of amusing. Mm-hmm. Of Come up with a game. I want to come up with a game where object permanence is a core, like, or rather the lack of object permanence is a core element of the gameplay.
There were some sections of antimatter.
Yes, that did stuff similar to that.
Yes, that.
You don't mean antimatter, though. You mean antechamber.
Yes. Sorry, my apologies.
You're okay.
Didn't we actually interview that guy too who did that?
I don't think so.
No, we were trying to get him because he was one of the PAX 10 indie guys.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to talk about the game because he didn't want to
spoil
the game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude,
love to get him back on.
Our podcast is the Random Access Podcast. We can talk about random stuff. It's in our name.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about the game if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a messed up game. Although Superliminal is another one that, like, I think does some similar mind fuckery.
That's the one with the clock, right? Was that the VR game?
Nope.
No.
Superliminal plays with perspective. It was also a PAX 10.
Ah, okay.
This is the one where, like, you pick up a chess piece and then you turn and you move it to somewhere else. When you put it down, it puts it down as far away from you as it can.
Oh, and then you can walk forward. But it maintains
the perspective.
Oh boy, that's... Ooh.
So if you pick up a small thing in front of you and turn and put it down, like drop it, if the wall is further away, the thing will be further away, but for it to be the same size as it was when you picked it up means that it is much bigger in the space.
Yep.
And so it plays a lot with that. It's a really good game. I highly recommend it. All right. What else? There's more AIs.
Yes. So
there's Gemini 2.5.
Yes, got released for everybody now. So everybody who's got Google can now do Gemini 2.5.
I have noticed Gemini, like, in Google Sheets.
Yep.
It's just kind of there.
Yep. Nope. I've seen that too. I've been doing some spreadsheets for Pokemon Pocket, and it's like, hey, do you want to do this? And it's like, no, I don't.
Yep.
Microsoft's security copilot was used to find over 20 previously unknown vulnerabilities in various open source bootloaders.
Oops.
Yep. So luckily, the buffer overflows and other sorts of vulnerabilities have been fixed. And that's why Microsoft has announced this. So
yeah. That's great.
But yes, using AI to find these would be basically what, 0-day exploits then if nobody knows about them?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Potential or overflow calculation occurs in the following line of symlink being passed to grub malloc. Insufficient memory being allocated for the symlink potentially causes buffer overflow. Symlink is copied into the allocated memory. Wow. Good for the AI.
Yep. No, I also love the fact that it's like, hey, I found this problem, but then it also suggests mitigation recommendations.
Yep.
So
I mean, that's pretty typical of LLMs when you're like asking it about code and about, is this code accurate or safe or stuff like that. It'll be like, oh, well, you're good except for this. Here's how to fix it.
Mm-hmm. Probably
because if you think about what it's been trained on, most of the places where people are going to be asking about code are places like GitHub and Stack Overflow.
Yep.
So yeah, when it sees bad code, it's going to try to fix it.
Well, speaking of AI learning from online information sources, Wikipedia is basically pissed at AI bot crawlers.
Yeah.
Because I think they said 65%.
Oh, no.
65% of the traffic it gets is from bots who are polling Wikipedia and other Wikimedia states, for AI training.
Yeah.
So they're saying like, look, this is causing problems for people who are using Wikipedia.
Because they're not paying for it?
Yeah. So Wikipedia is starting to...
Wikipedia could make a case of like going to one of the AI companies or all of the AI companies and saying like, look, it's a free site. We don't block anything. We don't block crawlers. But do you think maybe you could toss some of that AI cache our way.
Yeah, they say our content is free, our infrastructure is not.
Yep.
Which, yeah, no, that makes sense.
So the next time one of those like, hey, if everyone chipped in $1 to pay for Wikipedia, we'd be fine. It's actually like, well, except half those people are bots.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Excuse me.
Well, should we hit the randoms? Anything else you want to talk about that's on the list here?
No, that looks like we're pretty much, we hit a lot of the topics. Good for us.
Okay. Yay.
Masterplan Tycoon.
Yes.
It is your review.
So, Masterplan Tycoon is a tycoon game.
Yep.
And you basically have resources like, stone, wood, water, sheep. Yes, there is a farm in there. Yep. And then you have
several farms. There's a swine farm.
Yes. There are very different types of farms because you need different types of farms for different types of things.
Yes.
And there are things like factories and sawmills and bakeries. And so you take these these minerals and you hook them up to the factories and then you can send them places. But it is all just boxes. So your factory is a box. Your farm is a box.
Sure.
Everything is a box and they're just connected by lines.
So it looks like a flow chart.
Yes, it does look exactly like if somebody took a flow chart.
Or an entity relationship diagram.
Yes. And turned it into a game. And so, it's a very, simple management game, but it looks simple. And it seems to be simple for me, but granted, this looks like the factory simulator stuff that Dad had way back when I was a kid. You grew up with,
yeah.
But I like it. The music is nice and calming. I feel like it's like if somebody took, I don't know, Factorio and then made it lo-fi.
So I played it. I played the demo of it. There is some overlap to it. Mm-hmm. There is some overlap to the Factorio circuits and like the part of my brain that lights up when I play Factorio. Some.
Yes. No, it's way simpler than that. There hasn't been a lot of times where, some of the later quote unquote puzzles are basically just, you just have to figure out how to put everything in a smaller area. And then the end game, it makes, things more and more complex. It's like, oh, you have to build these and you need workers and those workers need overalls and those overalls need to come from a farm and that farm needs food. And, so it's like layers upon layers upon layers. Which it doesn't really make it more of a puzzle. It just makes it, you just have to.
I mean, yeah.
You just have to remember that it's like, okay, A goes to B, B goes to C.
But this isn't a puzzle game.
No.
They claim it's a real-time strategy game, and I don't agree with that assessment.
No, it is not a real-time strategy game.
It is a logistics management game.
Yes. Yes, I would agree with that 100%.
Yeah. Which is part of what Factorio is.
Yep.
The biggest difference is that, like, in this one, when you want to connect two things, you just click and drag and they're connected. Factorio, you have to, like, build the inserters and build the belts and connect the belts and make sure that the ratios are right.
This is just boxes and lines.
Yeah. I played the demo. I did not buy the full game.
Yeah, I got it for free through one of the Epic Games or Amazon Games or Prime Games or Good Old Games.
games launcher games.
It's one of those free launcher games.
Yeah. Reminds me I should go check what the free game is on Epic Games.
Oh, I had just looked that up. Which, side note, this is not part of the review, but the Epic Games app is now also giving out free Android games every week.
Fun. Cat Quest 2.
Yeah, so in the app, I could get Doodle Kingdom Medieval for free now through April 10th.
Ooh, a 20-year-old game.
Hey, they had Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic earlier.
Okay.
So I grabbed
also a 20-year-old game.
But,
You're not helping your case there, Andy.
Well, it's a free game to try out on my phone, which right now is just, Pokemon Pocket and Well, there was a bit of Hearthstone in there too, just because I couldn't do it on my computer.
Because your computer was dead?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
So Masterplan is like $10 at Steam and Good Old Games, that sort of stuff there. I'm not sure if it's worth 10.
I didn't think it was.
No. It's one of those things that's like, maybe if I see it on sale, I would suggest it more, but I don't know. Would you? All right, what about for $5? Because they had a couple sales recently that had
I have too many other games
off.
to play.
Okay.
I tried the demo. I have too many other games to play. I say as I've been spending my time in a fucking idling game. But I've got that up while I'm watching Blacklist. So.
Oh, that was a good series.
You watched it?
I watched first 2 seasons.
Okay. I'm most of the way through season 1.
Okay. I will not say anything then.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It was one I started watching it because it was on Netflix or something else like that. And I was like, oh yeah, James Spader. All right.
I have fallen for James Spader.
Oh yes.
He's so good.
Yes.
He's so good in this role. It feels like Ultron is a normal person.
Yes, I agree with that 100%. But, okay, so that's not part of our...
Yes.
Okay.
Also, though, have you gone back to watch Stargate, like the movie Stargate?
The movie Stargate? I haven't seen the movie Stargate in a very long time. And yes, I know he's in the movie Stargate.
Yeah, he is in the movie Stargate. Do you know who he plays in the movie Stargate?
Yeah, he plays Daniel.
He plays Daniel.
I know.
Is it totally, that does not ring to me as the same person.
Yep. Nope.
Or same actor.
Yeah.
In any way.
Granted,
any way.
In my head, I just always see Michael Shanks now for that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, because you watched him for 11 seasons, probably multiple times.
Yes, I did.
Well, I guess not 11 seasons.
No, because he was gone because he enlightened or ascended
ascended.
Yes,
because he had contract negotiation disputes.
Yes,
and wanted to be done.
Yep.
Let's be real. They wrote him out of the story.
Yep. It was just like Fitz gone for a season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because I think he was playing poker or something. Or that he just didn't have the time to do the show.
That's fantastic. Random topic.
Yes, random topic. Roll ahead of time. What did I roll? Where is it? When
was the last time you changed your voicemail?
When was the last time you changed your voicemail?
I have a voicemail?
I changed the voicemail on my work phone within the last 2 years because...
You got a new job.
I got a new job. I think that might have been around the time that I changed my last voicemail on my Google Voice account because that was the phone number I gave everybody at work at the old job.
Yep.
Because I could get emails and texts of the voicemails.
Yes.
So I would have a nice transcript of what people told me. So when people came back later and said, hey, how come you didn't do this? I could pull up the email and go, because when you called me, you did not say, hey, do this.
Yeah.
Which I could not do with my T-Mobile voicemail. So has my T-Mobile voicemail changed? Probably not. I can't even think of the last time I had changed my original.
I don't know what I would change it to or from.
I don't even know how I would change it.
Like, what else would I have it say?
Like, I've actually just pulled up the phone, and I went to voicemail, and it says you don't have any voicemail messages yet because it's through Google Voice now. Mm-hmm. Google Voice is my voicemail. So, I don't even know if my original T-Mobile voicemail is even around anymore.
Yeah, like, easily 10 years for me.
It's been a long time.
Yep.
So,
with that,
yep.
Andy, this is like the earliest we've finished the podcast in years.
Well, yes, because Isaac was a very tired child.
Okay.
And needed to go to bed.
Okay.
So he went to bed and crashed.
Yeah.
So, on that note, that's a wrap. This has been another episode of the Random Access Podcast. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, corrections, suggestions, remarks, reviews, rebukes, retorts, or just rants, feel free to contact us. You can find us on Twitter at RAPodcast, or send us an email at mail@rapodcast.net. Thank you for listening.